My name is Haley Comet, and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology, and today all things nodal return, what it means when you notice that transiting North Node is conjunct your natal North Node. This is called a nodal return. It only happens every 18.5 years, and it marks a pivotal time for transformation of shedding old tendencies and launching yourself forward towards your soul's mission. So there are ways to co-create with this influence, and this is a time that these eclipses are launching you towards what it is that you are here to learn, your true soul's purpose. And I'm so excited that we are doing an entire North Node series. So if you want to know nodal reversal, so if you notice that transiting North Node is conjoining your natal South Node, we'll be covering that as well. I did a little poll over on my members tab to see what video you guys would be interested in most. And interestingly, it was a 50-50 split. So I went ahead and started with this one. I'll take it into nodal reversal as well as nodal bending, what it means if the transiting North and South nodes are squaring your natal North and South nodes. And just so you know, if you want to vote on polls such as this, as well as there's other perks, including printable calendars, a digital astrology planner, make sure to check out Magic Monthly by clicking the join button below for more info on that. But without further ado, let's dive in. Nodal return. So my love, you might know of a Saturn return. You might know of a Venus return. Perhaps you celebrate that every year. What is a nodal return? So a nodal return is when transiting North Node conjoins your natal North Node, and transiting South Node conjoins your natal South Node. They're essentially returning to the same position that they were in at the moment of your birth. To understand this transit, we need to understand these nodes. Firstly, let's talk about South Node. South Node is our cosmic comfort zone. It is where it is that we feel comfy, cozy. It's where we have natural expertise, but where in life can serve as a bit of a comfort zone for us, where it is that we can linger certain bad habits, areas of stagnancy within us. And it's not that the South Node is inherently bad necessarily. There are lots of gifts in South Node. Like, that's where you bring with you a lot of expertise. And in certain transits, it's actually an aligned time that you can find good in that area of the chart. Your nodal return is not one of them. With transiting South Node conjoining your natal South Node, it is a time that destructive tendencies, stagnancy becomes deeply, deeply apparent. And it's time for you to be aware of the negative energy that those bad habits, destructive tendencies are bringing into your world. Your nodal return is a time that you begin to become incredibly conscious of how that South Node is holding you back, is keeping you in your comfort zone, is bringing dark energy into your world. Let's give an example. Let's say your South Node is in Leo. There's lots of gifts that you can pull from that South Node. There's lots of gifts around natural visibility, natural creativity, and natural heart-centered leadership approach, right? But during your nodal return, you might notice more of the shadow side of that South Node leaking into your existence. So more of the energy of being very dramatic, being very theatrical, being very self-centered. Those tendencies will become so visible that you literally cannot ignore them. Maybe during other parts in the cycle, you can sort of ignore it. You can maybe pull positives from it. But when you're having your nodal return, you will become increasingly aware around how that energy is holding you back. And you'll want to consider it by house, by sign, and by aspect if any are being made. And keep in mind, I have entire playlists all about North Node, exploring it by house, by itself, and then taking it into sign plus house. So for your unique nodal story, I have done a video and talked about it. So find that on my channel. But during this transit, the shadow side of that South Node begins to come to the surface. So let's say it's a South Node Leo, and that South Node Leo is in the 10th house. 10th house is about visibility, career, public persona. It can become increasingly aware during your nodal return. Wow, I've built this entire career based on what will grant me validation and applause from other people. Wow, I've built this whole life based on what looks good from the outside rather than what looks good on the inside. Wow, these destructive tendencies are really coming to the surface within my career. This is really coming to the surface within my leadership style. When you have transiting South Node conjoining your natal South Node, it becomes apparent. Destructive tendencies, bad habits. Why I want you to co-create with this is because I want you to shed these. And keep in mind, our chart is a work in progress. It's our past, present, future. So love yourself through the negative aspects of that South Node. It's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if you don't learn from it. It's only a bad thing if you're aware around, let's say in that example, South Node Leo in the 10th house, if you're aware, wow, I need to be center of attention, or wow, I need a lot of applause and validation from people. Wow, I've chosen this career only because I thought it would look good to other people. It's only a bad thing if you stay within that and sort of like double down on the toxicity that South Node can be bringing into your world. Because keep in mind, this is where you feel comfortable. So there's a comfort to you within that area of the chart. There's a comfort to you in just building what other people value in the 10th house, being known for something outside of prioritizing your own happiness in your own private world. We'll get into North Node in a second. There's a comfort to you with the Leo themes of the South Node. And it's important that you're aware of how that has held you back. It'll make you aware of any stagnancy that is the case when it comes to that sign's archetype and that house's energy. It'll make you aware of any destructive tendencies, any like dark energy that is bringing into your world. And I want you to be conscious of it and choose a different response. So I'm not saying if it's South Node 10,000, you need to quit your job, but you need to be aware around, okay, what projects am I taking on just because I think it'll look good to other people? Or where am I being overbearing when it comes to being a leader because I need attention on me at the expense of working as a team, working with the people? I want you to be aware of it and choose a new response. And that's why nodal returns are so powerful. Because as we are releasing the bad habits of the South Node, we are being launched towards the North Node. We have this cosmic opportunity to prioritize the work that our soul cut out for us, the work and the themes that our soul wanted to learn about. I am of the belief that nodes are a karmic theme. Not every astrologer believes that. You can think of it as early in life and the life arc within this lifetime. I like to think of it as South Node as past life themes, and North Node is essentially our major in this lifetime. And nodal return is sort of like a test in a sense around, have you been learning these themes? And it's an acceleration to sort of cram for the test, so to speak. External events will launch you closer to the North Node, because when we talk about nodes, it's fated. And you'll notice this energy accentuates around eclipses, okay? So it'll be, your nodal return is about 1.5 years long transit. And during the eclipses, so when the full moon and the new moon conjoins where the nodes are, it'll make this energy even more apparent. It'll be a time that you really have to cram for the test of your life, so to speak, if this is your life's work. Keep in mind, our North Node is not where we are always comfortable, right? So your nodal return will stretch you into ways that is uncomfortable. It will launch you forward in ways that are uncomfortable. And the biggest thing with North Node is to try on new ways of being and to experiment with what would it look like if I prioritized in that example, a more Aquarian vibe? What if I prioritized a team effort, thinking of humanity rather than just myself? What would it look like if I prioritized my private environment, that I made the decisions based on what would make me happy at the end of the day and not what would secure the most validation and applause? What would that look like, and how can I launch towards that? And I would say this is twofold in that, yes, I do believe we can co-create with it by actively choosing to do that work actively. If you are at a crossroads between doing things the way that you've always done them versus choosing a new way, I hope that you would choose that new way. But I do want to say, because eclipses are fated, because nodes are fated, typically external events will quicken to really spotlight that. So there might be an opportunity at work where you get this promotion, you're like, ooh, I don't want to. It's an hour away. It'll take me away from my family. It'll look really good and be really fun to brag about on social media, but my heart's not in it. Your nodal return will give you this, like be like, okay, are you gonna live from your South Node or are you gonna live from your North Node? And I hope that you pick your North Node during this time. External events will quicken and align for you to move towards that North Node, for you to grow and stretch in new ways, which is why nodal return tends to be a rather auspicious time for individuals, because it is a time that your life's purpose accelerates. Timelines accelerate for you to start really living in that North Node. Things can align by which you have an opportunity to live more deeply towards that North Node. So for example, maybe you move houses and you get to be closer to your family. In that example of North Node in the 4th house, that would be very supported. Maybe you get a job opportunity that has values in accordance to the big picture humanitarian goals that you have. That would be North Node Aquarius. External events will quicken it, but I do believe in free will, so I think you have to make the decision. You have to make the decision to push yourself in new directions, even if it doesn't feel comfortable. You have to make the decision to choose your North Node if you are in a fork in the road. You have to make the decision of noticing the destructive bad habits that your South Node can be bringing into your existence and releasing them, letting them go. And essentially nodes, I do consider it a balancing act between these two. I don't think we have to fully go towards the North Node and say goodbye to the South Node, but I think during nodal returns, you basically do. It's a time that you're being tested. Like, are you living in the North Node, or are you just making excuses and being complacent within the South Node? Because that, to you as a soul, is where you feel the most comfy. North Node, it should make you feel uncomfortable. It's not where you've been before. So nodal return can be a scary time because you are literally choosing a new way to be. But it can also be one of the most pivotal, transformative times of your life that you start living in accordance to your soul's purpose. Fate of the universe and fate of your soul converge during this time. Literally, the 2 points intersect. It's basically a time that the cosmos are giving you this opportunity to do the work that you signed up for as a soul, to choose to do it the hard way, to choose the path of growth, to choose the path of higher alignment with yourself. I apologize for the interruption, but while editing, I was reflecting on how this occurs when you are 18 years old, 37 years old, 55 years old, 74 years old. Around that age is when you experience these nodal returns. And the age 18 is oftentimes when we are asked to leave the family home, to fly the nest, so to speak, to go out into the quote-unquote real world and find out who we are, right? And so much of the nodal return truly is about leaving the comfort zone. So that age is so symbolic of literally leaving where it is that you've been comfortable, what has felt like a safe space for you in order to find your great adventure, to find your hero's journey. Like North Node and nodal return, it can feel scary, it can feel uncomfortable, but it's your destiny. It's how you find that sense of vitality and aliveness, what it is that you are meant to do. And I find that age 37, around the time that the second nodal return happens, is oftentimes an age that many individuals are considering. What is the purpose of my life? What is it that I want to build? How is it that I want to grow? And same with 55 and 74. So I want you to observe your nodal return at these ages and really begin to sharpen into focus. Where is it that I am called to grow? What bad habits and comfort zone am I willing to shed? And how is it that I can align with my higher self and with my destiny? So the question is, are you going to take it? Are you going to take these little nudges from the universe? Take these little nudges, particularly will be accentuated during the eclipses, as I mentioned, to continue to carve this path for yourself. The cosmos are presenting you this stage to make that decision, and the choice is truly up to you. And I just want to highlight, this is such a beautiful time to dive deeper into your nodes, okay, as a whole. I really want you to understand your South Node and your North Node, okay, because you're going into this cosmic test. And do you want to pass? You got to study. You got to study. You got to understand the gifts, certainly of your South Node, but also the bad habits that it can leak into your existence, as well as the opportunities of your North Node, of what it is that you signed up for. Because the thing about the North Node is that the universe meets you halfway there. North Node is considered a place of material gain. It's a place of soul expansion and growth because the universe supports you in that mission. So you'll find if you kind of march boldly and courageously towards your North Node purpose, you feel like you're being really met and supported by the universe. If you live via your South Node, you can feel like things around you are falling away. Because during nodal return, it's not that everything will be easy and roses and butterflies. If there is any aspect of your life that is more South Node-esque, that is kind of blocking your growth, it can fall away. Anything that is not meant to be for your growth, for your pathway forward, will fall away, which a lot of people can freak out. But I always say, if something impactful happens during a nodal transit, I'm like, my love, take that up with fate, because the thing about nodal transits is that it has to do with a broader purpose. It has to do with the big picture, right? Nodes is our soul's purpose. So if someone leaves your life during a nodal return, in some way they were blocking your growth forward. If a job that you thought you loved leaves your life during a nodal return, my love, it's creating space for you to launch towards something that is more aligned with your soul's purpose. The changes that can take place during nodal return, a lot of people will panic and be like, what do you mean? There's no way this was perfect, but you're not seeing the big picture, right, of it all. You're not seeing how that little decision or that little connection or that little job has ripple effects and effects outside of itself, right? So when you're in the eye of the storm, you don't see all of that. In years to past, you'll see on how impactful your nodal return was and how the events that transpire at this time are incredibly synchronistic. They're incredibly fated. They have significance that ripples on beyond just this moment in time. So it is really important to trust the process and to continue to march towards that North Node. And the universe is willing to meet you halfway. So my love, I'm wishing you such a beautiful nodal return, transiting North Node conjunct Natal North Node transit. Please let me know if you are in the midst of yours. So at the time of filming this, it is currently transiting North Node in Taurus, transiting South Node in Scorpio. Let me know how that's been going for you if you are a Taurus North Node. Let me know what bad habits you've shed of your Scorpio South Node, what stability and accumulation you've been leaning towards with your Taurus North Node. I would so love to hear either in the comments below, or I'm on social media at Haley Comet Astrology on Instagram and TikTok. But until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.